Hello, everyone. How's it going? Happy Monday. I'm Todd. You're listening to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. I keep wanting to come up with a new intro here, but I just don't. Anyways, here with my wife and business partner, Jennifer.
Hello.
What's up? And today we're talking about culture. So salon culture specifically, but really any business culture. My headphones are loud. Hold on. There we go. All right.
The
so
vibe.
What's that?
The vibe.
Yeah, the vibe, the salon culture, the salon or the business culture, whatever you want to refer to it as. I think from the jump, we're big on defining things. Mm-hmm. Not redefining things, but defining things. So let's talk a little bit about defining your culture and why that matters. So first, I feel like actually, you know what? Let's talk about what culture is first. So your culture is nothing more than your values and your beliefs.
Mm-hmm. What you stand for, what you're
what
working
you stand
towards.
for, what you do in, specific situations.
Mm-hmm.
So your behaviors.
Yeah. How
you present yourself. What you mostly hear from people about their culture is everyone is nice and really supportive. That's not a culture. Let me give you a story. Let's do a little culture story.
Sure.
All right. For those people listening who have been tuned in for a little bit, you probably have heard me talk about a gym. I used to own a gym. Specifically, it was a CrossFit. I was a CrossFit affiliate, so it was a CrossFit gym. People were advertising their gyms. People were marketing their gyms. They didn't know how. So what you heard was, my gym has the best coaching, mm-hmm. the best programming. If you don't know what programming is, it's just the workouts that you follow.
Right.
And it has the best community. Now, what happened was the gym down the street opens up, and wouldn't you know it, they have the best coaching, the best programming, and the best community.
Check it out.
And then a gym on the other side of the state opens up, and wouldn't you know it, they have the best coaching, the best programming, and the best community. Now, by trying to stand out but being lazy, everyone just looked the same. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see in a lot of the salon industry. Everyone's trying so hard to be different, but without putting in the work.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty spot on.
I would agree.
Because what you see is people opening, for example, a salon, and it looking a whole lot like the one they just came from.
Right.
In a lot of cases, identical. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's some cosmetic changes, or maybe whatever. Obviously, you have a different name, a new website, so it feels new.
But you're sort of following the same steps that you're basically trying to give your clients the exact same thing that they had there, but under your new name.
Right. And what we were watching a show or something, and they said, oh, it was the founder, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that what we were watching the other day?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a quote that I liked that was like, people don't want, hold on, I think I have it. Talk for a second.
Yeah, that
I think I wrote it down.
Watched that show. It's a movie. It is really good. But I do agree. I have had people reach out to me in the past when they're about to go out on their own, open their own salon. And I always say to them, take this time to figure out who you are, what you want to be about. Don't just be like the mirror image of where you're coming from, and you basically kind of bring over all of the same ideas. You just put, like I said, like your name on it. Like, that's not innovative. There's nothing new about that. And pretty quickly that gets boring. Like, because most likely if you're leaving a salon that's been established, you're not going to be able to run your salon at the top level like that one does. So your clients may follow you. They also may fall off because they're like, okay, well, now this is run crappy and all the same stuff's here. So I'm going to go back to where I came from.
Right. So the quote was, people don't want different, they want better.
Yes, that's what it was.
And that relates in this situation because a lot of people think I am going to open my own thing and I can do it better, but they don't really.
Do the same.
They do, yeah, at the fundamental level, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah. Or what I see is they run the salon the same, and they're like, I'm going to treat my staff better. I'm going to treat the people that work under my name better. And when they do that, they give them too much that it ends up hurting the business. And now they either need to take away or figure out how to restructure their business because they thought they should give the world out and then realize that's not how you run a profitable business.
Yeah, yes, super true. So you have to lead from the front. So once you establish your culture, you've got to live it. Mm-hmm. You've got to actually follow the things.
I think the key word there is lead, not micromanage.
Yeah, and you have to
Lead.
do it from the front too. And I'm not saying you have to be behind the chair all the time and all this stuff, but you've got to be just living what you're saying. Like if so, education's a big one in the industry. It's like at this point, it's just a buzzword. Mm-hmm. Everything is education, right?
Unless you come into our salon and it actually is.
So, yeah, and it's weird. And so if education is important to you, what are you doing? Right. So taking a couple of online classes is not education. Mm-hmm. Like it is. But if you're saying that it's your culture and it's what your business is like built upon.
Right. You need to be constantly educating yourself and staff or people under your roof all the time.
Right, not doing the same things you've been doing for 8 years.
Correct. And I think if you are leading and there's certain things that you're like, I that just doesn't, like maybe you're avoiding some of the things you're trying to lead your team for. Like maybe you do want things in your business, but when you go to lead it, you're like, wow, this isn't comfortable. Well, you might need to reevaluate. Maybe it's not time for you to have one of those systems in your business yet. So maybe you sidebar it so you don't fall flat on your face or look like you're trying to be something you're not. You may not be ready for that yet, and that's okay. For sure.
And now I'm not judging either. So I wanted to give an example of a successful salon culture or a positive salon culture. And I can't because I can't define that for someone else.
Right.
It gets tricky. But what I will say is what would be successful is in terms of culture for your business would be the people that are doing what they're claiming that they're doing when there's no audience. Mm-hmm. When there's no one around to hit like on your fucking Instagram page, when there's no other clients or people in there for you to see on a day maybe you're by yourself with the client, are you still doing the things that you should be doing?
I would agree.
Like when no one's looking or whatever that, what is that? There's another saying, right?
Yeah, I have an example here too. So
go for it. Take over.
I think a good way to see if you have a salon culture. Well, I mean, I would hope you'd want one that's positive, but who knows? I don't know what you want. But
maybe someone's out there like, I want the worst culture ever.
So I thrive in my current salon and my last one to have a positive culture. And I can tell you a really easy way to figure out if you have that. So at both salons.
I think you meant strive.
Did I say thrive?
Yeah.
I meant strive.
You were like, I thrive to have a positive culture.
No, strive. Oh my God.
Thrive in a positive culture.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So when we are bringing on new hires, we encourage them to come in and shadow for a day. And I think this will give you a really quick glimpse into your business because my first salon, people would come in to shadow and they never came back or even like re-engaged with us. I'm like, what's going on? I quickly learned that my staff thought, we don't want anyone else on this team, so we're going to make sure they're so uncomfortable they'll never come back in the doors. Or we're going to call the salon that they used to work at and let them know they're interviewing here. There's a culture that was just fucking shit ass.
That's insane.
And that's a true story. Now, in the salon we currently own, this is amazing because we had someone come into shadow that's looking for a career change. She has been a longtime client of mine. She trusts me, so she came in to shadow me. And
I'm going to interrupt because that's a big deal. This isn't somebody looking to change salons. This is a career. This person does not do hair.
She's mid-20s, doesn't do hair. She's a teacher. She's like, I just need something to fulfill me.
Yeah, so she's looking for something. So this is big.
So she reached out to see, can I shadow? So I'm like, yeah, come in. I'm working this day, whatever. So I'm finishing up with my clients. And we had let the staff know on our line of communication that we had someone coming in. This is what they're looking for. Please talk to her, answer her questions, and just give her your own stories because she's looking for that. So the coolest part was...
So you didn't give them like a script to tell? I know.
No. Do whatever. Tell them the loves, the likes, the hates, everything, whether it's even my salon or our salon or past experiences. So the amazing thing happened here, and this is where even I came home the other day, was like, wow, we have a kick-ass team, culture, everything. We are vibing. And I'm finishing with my clients, and the girls just hung out to sit on the couch with this girl and talk about all kinds of stuff. And literally I heard this one girl say, who is not the most positive person, but when she is happy, you can tell. She'll tell you this. She's like, I'm not trying to be sappy here, but if you actually want to work under good leadership, this is the only place I've ever worked at that's had that. And she would not say that if she didn't mean it. And the girls were just complimenting how things were run. A lot of them were even saying this is the best.
I can co-sign that because when I talk to her, she's one of the most honest
people you'll ever meet in your life.
With how she feels about things. And we vibe because I'm that way as well.
Yeah. She brings that to our team.
Like
it's
if something
really
not exciting me, I'm like, this just isn't for me.
Right.
I can't be here.
But then, these stylists are sitting there and just like, this is the best team I've ever worked with. This is the best team we've ever had, even under the Hello brand. And just hearing them, and I'm busy, so they're not doing it to like blow up steam up my butt. Like they were really just talking to her very honestly. And I was just so proud and so excited. And that, again, when you're building a culture, it doesn't happen overnight. We've been with these people for 1, 2, 3 years. It takes time to grow a team that kind of interlocks and everybody realizes what role they play. And, not everyone is a good fit, so you have to let them go. But, when you get to a point where you've got some good players on your team, you got to take a minute to enjoy it, because that's not always going to last forever either. But those are two different salon cultures and they both exist. So hopefully you have the one we have currently today.
Yeah, or somewhere in the middle. Don't have that first one. That sucks.
No, that was really bad. Really bad.
That's terrible. And I actually forgot about that, but I do remember you telling me that story one day, because you had several people leave and you were like, I really thought they were great, but I don't know why we never heard back. And then you either figured it out or you were told or you overheard some things.
Told some stuff. One of the girls reached out, was like, hey, just so you know, one of your stylists called my salon and I just got fired. I'm definitely not coming to your salon. I'm like, what the heck is happening here? I didn't even know this stuff existed. So it does exist. It blew my mind.
I hear about that stuff. People calling people and people like trying to get people in trouble.
Yeah.
And, all sorts of weird
stuff. So as much
stuff.
as there's toxic environments, there are really wonderful ones too. Don't think all salons were created equal, because they definitely are not.
Nope.
You just have to keep searching till you find the right real fit for yourself.
For sure. So let's slide. That's actually a great segue into our next little sort of subtopic here, but some strategies for building a positive culture in your business. I will say, without a doubt, this is far easier to accomplish before you open your doors than to make a culture shift. That said, it's not impossible.
Right.
You can do it. I would be really, really careful when you do it, because you need strong leadership skills. You need perseverance. You need fortitude. You need grit. You need all that shit that no one wants to talk about, because if you make a culture shift and it's abrupt and your whole team leaves, what are you going to do?
Right.
Do you have it in you to build again?
Right.
It's way easier to do it from the beginning, lay out your mission, lay out your foundations. If you need staff or you're excited or people meet the qualifications, they have to fit your culture.
Also, I would say on that, don't get caught up in if you hire somebody and then you realize they're not a good fit. So that's happened recently to me. We try to always do basically like a FaceTime call first. So it's just easy. We can talk to anywhere we are. Then we have them come in and do a model and just kind of hang in the space, like I was saying. And sometimes those go well, and it leads to them joining the team. And recently I've had one that I was just like, I was working on developing a schedule for the person. And I'm like, something's just not clicking. And I'm like, I don't even know what it is. But at this point, it's just not a fit for what we're looking for. And we just parted ways, and she was totally fine with it. She's like, I'd rather know ahead of time. Totally cool. But sometimes you may hire someone and be like, wow, this just isn't going to work. And that's okay too, to let them go. You don't have to, because you hired somebody, keep them longer than necessary.
Right. Agreed. If somebody is not a great fit, it's a disservice to them as well.
Absolutely.
To keep them on.
Yes.
And that might sound like a cop-out sort of excuse, like, oh, I'm doing this person a disservice. But if they're not going to fit, they're going to feel, or there's a potential for them to feel awkward or
right,
whatever. And that's the last thing you want for people.
Totally. And there's, whatever town you live in, there is a slew of salons. So if they're not a good fit for you, encourage them to find one that's a good fit for them too. I think there are owners that really think they can save the world, right? And you cannot save everybody, and you really need to focus on driving the right staff for your team, because that will be saving your salon and your culture. If that makes sense.
It doesn't.
No?
Driving the right staff for your team.
Yeah, so
What does that sentence mean? I'm kind of picking on you, but also I think staff and team are the same, no?
Yes, but so when you're hiring staff, but you're hiring a stylist and you have a team. So you're probably like, there are stylists that come in and you're just like, oh, I feel for them. I really see their potential. But that doesn't mean they still are going to fit for your team, right?
For your current team.
Yes.
So expanding. Yes. I'm sorry. I was
No, that's
not.
why I asked, because I felt like I was kind of like circling around my
That's all.
self.
That's okay. Hey,
sometimes I get wordy.
Ask, right?
Yep.
You do that, don't you? I haven't noticed.
Oh, yeah. It's a new thing.
Kidding. The second, so if you've already launched your business and you realize that you want to make, or you need to make, a change in your culture, we talked about it's way easier to do it from the jump. And it's can be very difficult and tough to forcefully do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would recommend, if you need to make that culture shift, is to nudge things ever so slightly in the direction and have it take a year.
Little micro steps.
Yeah, just have it take 18 months, have it take 15 months, plan it out, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do it sooner. Maybe it's a 3-month thing. Maybe it's a 6-month thing. But don't just change everything, because as much as people love to say that they love change, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
As much as people love to say that the hair industry is constantly evolving, I don't feel like it. Where is that happening?
No.
Not a lot of places. Sometimes we meet people and we're like, whoa, that's super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you get to, you're talking about like product companies, there's constant technology there being driven forward, and science and things like that. But as far as constantly evolving, I don't see it when you're on the ground talking to people. I don't see it. But so one way to sort of start this process with your team is to sort of foster this open communication and constructive feedback, both directions.
Yes.
You need to, as a leader, be able to construct and criticize and do all the things to move your people, move your team forward and progress them and have them grow. But you've got to figure out a way to do it that they're going to be receptive to.
Correct. So one of the things I do, and I try, so for me to lead our team, I really like to address things sooner than later. So I had recently with one of our team members, I just quickly ran out back. She was finishing up a client. I don't even remember what happened. It wasn't even a big deal. But I'm like, hey, do you like constructive criticism? How do you take it? And if I've got some feedback for you, do you want to hear it now, or kind of would you rather at the end of your shift? So I sort of let her kind of help lead that.
If that was me, I would be like, you need to let me know right now.
She was the same way. She's like, I want to know now. And there was someone else in the break room. So I'm like, do you want to take a walk, or do you want to just talk here freely? Like, it doesn't matter. She's like, no, go right ahead. So I'm like, hey, I noticed this, like, this is what you missed, whatever. And she just was like, thank you so much. But not everybody can take that in the middle of their shift. They might be like, you know what, we'll just chat at the end. I'm cool, because I got to keep my head in the right space, whatever. But sometimes I do think, like, just kind of letting know, hey, I've got some constructive criticism. I'd like to sit down and chat about it. A lot of it's not even a big deal, but if you wait, it can become a big deal.
You also tend to, not you specifically, Jen, but you as anybody listening, tend to create these scenarios in your head that how this person's going to react or whatever. And I will tell you from experience,
it's never going to be the way you lay it out.
It's never that way. You typically pick the worst possible thing. Like, this person's going to leave. They're going to stab me in the eye with their shears on the way out.
Or you try to come up with answers to questions that they haven't asked yet.
And they're like, oh, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Now I'm better.
And I think that's why I say try to address things sooner than later. I know some people say it's a 24-hour rule depending on the situation. Most stuff in our salon is like silly, like, hey, you forgot to give a tour. Like, it's not anything big, but it's still constructive criticism, right? So I want it to be received well, and I want them to think that I'm lifting them up and not tearing them down, right? But I think if you go too long, that's where you start creating a story or a movie in your head, and then you're not going to listen when you sit down with that person.
It also becomes at that point too, I find that it's easier to be passive aggressive to the whole group.
Yes. Don't do
that. And that gets super tempting. I mean, we've been working on this stuff for a long time, but if that's you, if you're like, oh, I do that, work on not.
Yeah. Talk directly to the person.
Give us a call because we can help you through it.
Yeah. That's a big one.
If you want, but yeah, you have to figure out a way to communicate with these people that are on your team, because everything breaks down if not.
Again, you're a leader. You have to lead the team, and that might be being uncomfortable.
For sure, it's being uncomfortable. There's no might there. At times, you're going to be uncomfortable. I forget exactly what I was going to say, but you might be surprised. Like, I know I've talked to some of our team, and I'm like, how do you like to communicate? And they're like, just tell me.
Yeah.
If you have something to say, just say it.
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm never going to pull someone on the floor off to the side and be like, what are you doing with this mess? Or what, like in front of a client or in front of colleagues. I'm not going to do that. But
I think a lot of people do want to grow, and you need to give them the opportunity to take the feedback you're giving and then really watch and see how they take it, rather than, like you said, assuming they're going to react in a certain way. Give them a chance first.
Yes, for sure. And the before we move on to our next little subtopic, I think encouraging creativity and encouraging professional growth is super important, because it just shows your team that you care and that you want them to grow.
Yes.
I feel like in this industry, in some other industries I've seen, people don't want people to get good because they
because people move on.
People
right?
have ceilings, and I'm picking my words carefully. I don't have any specific business in mind, but what comes to mind is the silly levels that a lot of salons have. And when I say silly, here's what I mean by that. When you have, say you have whatever, it could be 2 levels, it could be 10. Let's go with 10. Seems cool.
Sure.
So when you start out, you're a level 1, okay, and you work through, and I want to keep you back from being a level 10 as long as I can. This mindset. And I don't get that, why people do that. But then once they reach that last level, now what?
Right.
Now they're capped.
Or at a level 1, you're like, how am I ever going to get to level 10? Like, the uphill battle seems so far. Or like you said, when I get there, then what? Now I'm just done?
That's the part that confuses me. And that's what I think a lot of salon owners are missing. Like, when I opened this business with you, I never set out to be the world's best hair cutter. I want everyone at our salon to be better than I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our business isn't built around me cutting hair.
The other thing I will say that,
like, if I was the best hair cutter, what would that do for our business? Like that, you know what I mean?
I would love people in our salon. I want them to grow past me. Absolutely. The other thing the level system does create is, and I'll tell you from my own personal experience in my last salon, as an owner, I was like, I need someone at every level. So sometimes he will be close to moving up, but I'm like, well,
weird.
It's a thing. I got to say it out loud because it is a thing. Like, if everyone's all at the top level, then I don't have like different price points or whatever. So who cares?
So you're holding people back at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was your last business?
Yeah.
So you owned the business.
Yes.
And somebody was in a position to bring more money into the business.
I'm sure.
And you said no.
So here's the thing. I never looked at...
Doesn't even make fucking sense.
And I'm sure people will relate. I didn't look at leveling up as bringing in the business more money. I looked at it as being so uncomfortable that all their clients were going to complain that they were getting a price increase that I didn't even want it. I didn't lead a team. It was a very, I'm telling you, there are stylists that just open salons. We don't know what we're doing. And we're afraid of every single thing we do because every time we make a change, someone leaves. And then when you have a team, you're losing 5 customers, whatever. So you pretty much hold everybody back because you're just afraid.
Wow.
Not how we run this one, but I'm telling you, I would imagine people can relate to what I'm saying.
Not even close. I hope our staff is listening to this. I'm going to tell them to listen to this.
Yeah.
I might drop
That's a true scenario right there.
I'll audio into Slack so that they can listen to it before it releases.
Go for it.
Yeah, one of the big things you want to do, and then we can move on, is just you have to encourage people's creativity, their growth, and
the whole package.
Then also outside of your business.
Yes.
Like now we don't get into people's personal lives, but I think people know if they need something, they can come to us.
Whenever we ask for goals from people, I always say business, personal, whatever you want. I want your business goals, but if you have some personal ones that you want accountability for, throw them out there. I'll help you.
Yeah. Like, for example, if somebody is saving to, say one of their goals is to buy a home.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We've done that. So we can give you some insight if you want. And we're in the same business that you're in.
Right.
So it makes it easier for us to sort of explain, hey,
what we did.
This is what we did and here's why and whatever. And it's just that, it's advice. We're just giving you our experiences. Same thing with the podcast. This is not write down what Todd and Jen said and then go do it. No.
No, this is things we've gone through.
Hopefully, so that somebody out there listening, our goal for 2023 with the podcast was to get people to be like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Mindful thinking.
That's
right?
it.
I'm telling you shit that I fucked up on.
Which I love.
Don't do that.
Which I love. And some of the stories I know and I forget, and some I'm like, really? Like I remembered after the one where you said the staff would call the other salon.
Yeah.
I think it's insane.
I forget stuff too, and then it pops up and I'm like, oh geez, yeah, that happened.
All
but
right.
if you don't share that stuff, people don't know, and that's how they grow too. Don't do what I did.
And that's the real stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably, that would be too much of an ego hit. Like they would never say that out loud.
And if some of it resonates, you're like, now what do I do? Well, give us a call. We'll figure it out. We'll help you lay some stuff out so you can get further than I did faster.
Yeah, unless you're on my list. And then don't call. I think I probably have like two or three people on my list that if they called, I would be like, you're on your own. You burned that bridge, you dummy.
Well, that happens too.
Like Dave Portnoy, I have a bottle of champagne and I engrave their name on it. When I defeat them, then I pop the champagne.
Oh, do you have that?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. I was like, I didn't see that.
I don't have time for trying to defeat people. But it's cool to talk about. Mm-hmm. It's cool to pretend. Maybe I'll start doing that on Instagram.
Go for it.
All right. So another positive thing you could do to sway your culture, and this actually might work well if you're in need of a culture change and you don't know where to start, promote wellness.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with promoting wellness. Coming from the guy that used to have a gym.
Yes.
So first things first, you have to understand the importance of physical well-being.
Move your body.
And also look into stuff for your staff. Like we have a free stylist, blow dryers. We have other things, whatever. We have other things that help with ergonomics because we want people to be healthy and be able to do this. And on the flip side is the mental wellness.
Yep.
The job can be stressful. Dealing with people can be stressful.
Very much so.
Starting out 3 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, 20 plus years in, like you, Jen, you're going to make mistakes and have off days where you're like, this day is ruined from the jump. The other day you had a client show up like super late or something.
An hour
late. Yeah. And you were like, I fixed it. I figured it out because you had texted me late. I was like, I'm not texting her today because she's on edge already. You had texted me by like lunchtime or something and you were like, I got my whole schedule under control and I fixed it and it's awesome.
I also had a client last week show up an hour early and she was having a stressful day. I didn't even tell her she was early. I just made it work. She had no idea she had the wrong time. Because I'm like, she doesn't need to know today.
That's
she does
incredible.
not need to feel anything from me. So I'm just going to make her hair amazing.
No. Yeah. So just, you have to understand the importance of that stuff and then you can show it to your team.
Yeah. We encourage our team, if they need a day, to take a day. They don't have to be sick. They don't have to be whatever, but we encourage them to have a mature thought process and to realize like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it today. Like I'm gonna take the day. They don't need to make up an excuse. They don't need to lie. And honestly, that creates a better, mature working relationship. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. For example, our summers here are really short. So if you work for us and you're like, my day, like I have one client or something on a Saturday, or here's an even better one. Say it's like a Tuesday, a random Tuesday, right? Middle of the week. and you're like, for some reason, I have one random client on this day, move them.
Yeah.
Move that client and go to the beach.
Yeah,
we only
enjoy it.
get so many days. And guess what? Post that you're at the beach. You don't have to make up.
Right. You don't, that's what I mean.
Our staff, they don't have to make anything up
We
and
have
be
an
like,
honest, open line of communication. Enjoy it.
I'm sick. And then you see them on Instagram at the beach. You know what I mean? And it's awkward.
And then we have staff sometimes that just are having a bad day and they'll let us know. And both Todd and I are just like, if you need anything, let us know. We're here. Otherwise, we'll see you, you know, when you're next in. And they're just like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's life, man.
Yeah. I used to struggle even with like reaching out to people to just see if they needed anything. Because I'm like, I don't want to push them too much. And I don't want to be come across as a busybody because I'm not trying to find out any information. I do remember one time one of our staff called. She was having a moment. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I called her back and I was like, do you need anything? Are you okay? Yes. Yes, I'm okay. No, I don't need anything. Okay. If that changes, you have my phone number.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll just see you whenever we're in again. And I think I said something like, and if you need more time, like just take more time. If you need help moving your clients, let us know.
And I'll tell you, that is a unique approach because most people, if they're having a bad day or whatever, they create their own scenario that somehow, like I've heard my staff say, like, I just think you're going to be mad at me. I'm like, have I ever? No. I'm like, okay, then stop pretending that I'm someone else.
That's because you thought about it for so long in your head that now you're flipping it to the worst case scenario. Which
now I
is
feel
not
we're all in
happen.
a great place and they're just like, they know we're truly understanding. It's totally fine.
So you can incorporate some wellness stuff, practices and things into your business. Maybe that's part of your culture. You could have some sort of daily routine. Maybe you do a meeting before and you guys all sort of like have some positive affirmations or I don't know, whatever. Maybe you do some push-ups. I've been to hair shows where they make you do like jumping jacks and shit. It's really confusing. But I do get it. I do get what they're doing. I do get that because I come from that background that to prime your brain. Like I would always do things at my gym, have people move around a little bit because it gets your brain firing and your body a little warmed up and then explain what we're going to do for the day because it sort of dials everyone in. Because if you try to do it before, it's like trying to get the kittens back in the box. It gets crazy.
Yeah.
And you've got to create you don't have to, you can do what you want, but you should create a supportive work environment for everyone across the board, which is why it's so important to have the right team and the right fit. Because if one person stands out, they're going to probably get treated differently on some level, whether it's good or bad, whether you ignore stuff because you don't, as an owner, you're like, I don't want to deal with them today. So I'll let that slide or whatever. And that's not fair to everyone else. So you're doing yourself a disservice there. All right. Let's wrap up on talking about resilience.
Okay.
So you're going to face challenges.
Yep.
And you're going to have to work through them.
That's just...
I don't really know what else to say. I'm staring at my notes and I'm like, yeah, that's really it.
It's just an honest thing to say.
So maybe you have some examples or some stories. I don't have anything off the top of my head for challenges that you might face that might stress your culture or might break your culture down.
So this is where I'd said it's the negative Nancy, right? You have...
That's a good... Yeah.
You have the... Like, I'll tell you this, and I have had this too. One negative person can and will bring down your whole team. Even if you have two positives to outweigh it, it doesn't matter. For whatever reason, the negative takes over and everybody starts seeing that and kind of almost going down to that level rather than rising up to the other one. That negative Nancy, you 99% of the time will not change, will not convert. They need to go. And the sooner you do that, the better your team will be. The longer you try to fix it, make it better, you're just going to kill your whole entire culture. Yeah. I've seen it firsthand.
And I don't want this to come across as negative, but unless it's in your mission to save the world, work on your business and saving your business and the people that are on your team and buy into what you're doing.
Yes.
Number one as your priority, and everything else comes never.
Agreed.
Your business is not there to save the world.
No.
Your business as an owner is there to serve you.
Yep.
Period.
and focus on those people that show up and they want to be part of your team and they're looking for you to lead them. Those are your people.
For sure. Yeah, definitely get rid of that person. And if somebody popped into your head while you were listening to this, that's that person. Mm-hmm. And a conversation, you're probably right on this one, is not going to work, and it's probably going to go bad.
Nope, I've been there.
So get rid of them. I'm not saying just fire everybody, but that person needs to go.
They're just not a fit for your team anymore.
Yeah. Stress and burnout.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff sort of ties in. We give people sort of whatever time they need off so they don't, and we promote vacations and things like that. And those are all taken out of Salon. Like, I don't want to see you. If you're on vacation, don't drop into the salon. Yeah. Don't stop in to say hi.
Just take
Don't
your
be
time.
like, oh, I forgot my shears and I need them. You're on vacation. You should not need those.
Yeah. Go do you.
Yeah. But you've got to have some strategies in place for that. Maybe it's mandatory. You kick everyone out for a weekend a year. I don't know what it is, but have something there. And then just coach and encourage people to work through that, whatever challenge or resistance that they face.
I like that kind of coach and encourage, because everybody needs some type of coaching, no matter how old you are or it doesn't matter. And encouragement is really, really important. People don't get that enough, I feel, especially as an adult. So when you can do both of those things together, you'll really automatically start to shape a culture that works for you.
Yeah, definitely. I always, at the salon, I'll hear people that will say, and we encourage our staff to collaborate and work on things together, but it's so funny when someone says, Jen, what do you think about this? And under my breath, every time I say, well, what do you think about it? Because I want them to I want them to have the confidence.
Just recently,
I see, like, I want them to know that they're as good as I see them.
So there's,
you know what I mean?
Two of our staff just recently that when I'm in the building, they come up to me and they're like, I just want to say this out loud. I pretty much already know what I'm doing, but I just need you to either co-sign or not. And it's cool because their brain is working and they get it out and they're like, cool. I'm like, cool, that sounds great. And they're like, I already knew that. I'm like, I know. It's just because I'm here. Like, you just feel like I have to give you a check or a high five.
Like, that's funny to me because when you're not in the building, what do? They
just go with it.
They do it.
Yeah.
And they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're listening, staff, keep doing that stuff.
Or I think sometimes they're going for the learning part. Like, if there's something they can learn out of it, and since I'm there,
sure.
Give me that little insight, Jen, if you can.
Yeah. I think that's it. So let's wrap up by telling everyone that the episode was brought to you by our friends at Ping Pong Design and Marketing. If you want to, I just got an email that they're Ping Pong's changing their name up. But anyways, for now, if you want to love your website or you're looking for more clients to fill your business, reach out to Chris and the team at Ping Pong. And they're offering, I'll say they because I don't know what the name is. I voted. I did vote.
Oh, I didn't even see this.
Yeah, Chris texted me and was like, we got a vote going on. So I'm excited to see what the new name is, but for now, they are offering our audience a special discount. So visit the show notes, reach out to Chris. And as of right now, he's at Ping Pong. And we'll see.
And if anything we brought up today sparked where get you thinking and you need some help to organize your thoughts, please reach out.
Yes, reach out if you need help with any of this. And quick recap, like if you don't have your stuff defined, start there.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Mission, core values, vision.
Yes. And then work through some of the strategies that we talked about.
Cool.
I think that's it. So
Have
we're out of here. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. Happy Monday.